scheduled board meeting on the 13th of May. We're holding today's meeting at Northern Middle School. I understand there is no public comment, so we'll go forward. We will come back from this executive session. We'll be going to in a couple of minutes at approximately 6 o'clock for the public session. Under Section 3-305B of the General Provisions Article of the Maryland Annotated Code, there are 3 reasons the board will go into closed session this evening: to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, and performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this public body has jurisdiction; any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals; to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice on legal matters; to conduct collective bargaining negotiations or consider matters that relate to negotiations. Specifically, the topics for tonight will be 3-305B1. Topics including school year 2025 student member of the board interviews, certificated staffing recommendation, and personnel update. 3-305B7, topic including BAI solar power purchase agreement update. 3-305B9, topic including level 4 career ladder tentative agreement. The reason these topics will be discussed in closed session instead of open session is as follows. The personnel topics pursuant to 3-305B1 disclosed above will be considered in closed session rather than open session because they include discussion of specific employees, which is confidential employment matter. The legal topics pursuant to 3-305B7 disclosed above will be considered in closed session rather than open session because the board will be receiving specific legal advice from counsel, which is protected by attorney-client privilege. The negotiations topic pursuant to 3-305B9 disclosed above will be considered in closed session rather than open session because of the confidential nature of the collective bargaining process. Hearing all of that, are there any objections by board members to going into executive session? Hearing none, is there a motion? So moved by Rodney. Second by Don. Discussion? All those in favor of going into executive session signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. And we are in executive session. Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to our regularly scheduled May Board of Education meeting. I'd like to thank you all for coming out to meet with us. We appreciate it. Our first order of business, I'll ask you to please stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by our student board member. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'll take a motion to adopt the public agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion to adopt it.
Motion by Sadie.
Second.
Seconded by Don. Discussion? All those in favor of the agenda presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The agenda is adopted. Take a motion for the approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
So moved by Rodney.
Second.
Seconded by Don. All those in favor of the consent agenda as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Remind everyone that our closed session summaries of tonight's meeting, along with any announcements that would pertain to anything going on in the school system, can be found on our webpage, and certainly encourage you to look at that so that you have an opportunity to see the kinds of things that are going on in the school system. We do have some recognitions this evening, some very important recognitions. Let's start with the first. I guess we'll do the first one first, huh? And I'll do that one. Each year we recognize one teacher who is our Garrett County Teacher of the Year. And this year, the person who has been selected for that is Miss Laura Witt. So, Laura. Let me read a little bit about Laura here for a second. Garrett County Schools has named Miss Laura Witt 25-26 Teacher of the Year. Mrs. Witt received her master's degree in elementary reading and mathematics from Walden University in 2005. Her bachelor's degree in early childhood elementary education from Frostburg State in 2006. She began her teaching career with the Garrett County Board of Education in 2008. She has held a variety of positions, which include teaching all elementary grade levels, pre-K through 5, Title I coordinator, ELA lead teacher. She is currently employed as a second grade teacher at Broadford Elementary. She is also the yearbook advisor, serves on the school improvement plan committee, and is a volunteer volleyball coach at Southern High School. Mrs. Witt stands out for her outstanding dedication to student success, her innovative approach to teaching, and the meaningful impact she makes on both the school and the community. Said Mrs. Donna Ashby, Director of Early Childhood and Elementary Education. She consistently goes above and beyond to foster an engaging, supportive, inclusive learning environment. Her passion for education and unwavering commitment to excellence to continue to inspire students and colleagues alike. Dr. Brenda McCartney added, Mrs. Laura Witt exemplifies the heart of what it means to be an educator in Garrett County. She's compassionate, innovative, engaging, deeply committed to student success. We are proud to celebrate her outstanding contributions to her students, her school, and her community. Ms. Witt will go on to compete for the Maryland State Teacher of the Year, which will be announced in October. The board tonight would like to recognize Mrs. Witt for her outstanding accomplishment.
Yeah, that's all.
My wife used to say, if you have an early childhood degree, you teach them in kindergarten, everything, you will ever need the rest of their life.
Oh, I gotta sign up for some of those dinners, I guess. Since we need her to stay for the next one, appreciation week.
Next is our Teacher Appreciation Week. Ms. Liller will make that presentation.
Okay. Whereas teachers mold future citizens through guidance and education, and whereas teachers encounter students of widely differing backgrounds, and whereas our county's future depends on providing quality education to all students, and whereas teachers spend countless hours preparing lessons, evaluating progress, counseling and coaching students, and performing community service, and whereas our community recognizes and supports its teachers in educating the children of this community, now therefore be it resolved that the Superintendent of Schools and the Garrett County Board of Education proclaims May 5th through the 9th, 2025 to be Teacher Appreciation Week. And be it further resolved that the Garrett County Board of Education strongly encourages all members of our community to join with it in personally expressing appreciation to our teachers for their dedication and their devotion to their work.
Laura's going to accept it. Laura's going to accept that as well.
All right.
First item of new business is a school meal rate increase. This is an action item tonight. It was first put out a month ago for comment. Tonight, there will be action. Mr. Germain will make that presentation. Good evening.
I'm here to request a 15-cent increase to the paid lunch price for next year.
Superintendent McCartney, you have a recommendation?
I do, but I'd also like to make a couple comments
Sure.
before. I just want the public to know that we will also be applying for the CEP program, which would allow us to provide free meals to all enrolled students. We are very hopeful to be able to provide that program next year. And I don't want to cloud this issue, but if we are not successful in getting that program, we wanted the meal increase in place so that we could continue to provide for our students.
Okay, so your recommendation is?
Oh, I'm sorry. So my recommendation is to increase the full price meals for next year by 15 cents.
Superintendent's recommended that we take action on a increase of 15 cents per full price meal beginning next school year. Do I have a motion as such?
So moved.
So move it on. Need a second?
I'll second.
Second, Rodney. Discussion.
Yeah, the breakfasts are still free, right,
Correct.
for everybody?
Yeah, that will be still free. That's a program through the state of Maryland.
Okay. And what percentage of our student population is on free and reduced
We are,
meals?
sorry, caught me off guard. I believe it's right around 59% currently.
So that's really only impacts about 40% of the students.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Thank you.
Are we, was there a question down there somewhere?
When was the last time we had an increase?
We requested it in June of 2020, but we did not put it into effect until September of 23. So 2 years ago.
Okay, thank you.
Are we currently in the CEP program right now?
Bennett Road is the only school we have in the CEE program, but they're 100% free either way. They're with the Head Start students that are there
So that's the only free
Yes.
lunches that we have in Garrett County
as a school. Yes,
as a school. Is that state by state? How does that work?
CEP is a federal program,
Yeah.
so it's you have to qualify for it, and you have to have a certain percentage of your students that are what we call directly certified. So that's SNAP, foster care, Medicaid, Medicare, those type of things. And you have to have, right now, the percentage is 25% of your students to qualify. Used to be 40%. They reduced it to 25. So that allowed us to bring all of our schools on board. And then you will get reimbursed and they have a multiplier so that we know it's a little bit, it's like 1.6 is the multiplier currently. And then you will get reimbursed at the free rate for that number of students, and the rest will be at the paid rate.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to implement a 15-cent 15-cent rate increase to full lunches beginning with the next school year. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay?
Nay.
Nay.
2 nays? 2 yays? Didn't see that coming. I am in favor of it, so I'm a yay. I think that's the least that we can probably get by with and still keep our foods program afloat. Okay.
Thank you, Todd.
Educational Facilities Master Plan, this is a review. Be presented by Mr. Witt.
Everything that's been updated for this year is in red text. On page 2, I identified the new board members and myself. Pages 4 through 17 is updates to different individual facilities. Most of that is related to completed projects and the southern grade band realignment. There are some minor changes on the site evaluations and facility inventories, and those are also identified in red on pages 19 through 78. There are several appendices that remain the same as last year. And appendices A, B, C, F, K, N, O, P, and R are all updated from last year. Appendix Q is some documentation we're waiting on from the Maryland Department of Planning. That should be received within the next 2 weeks. And you'll have that prior to your voting on this next month.
It is a first read, certainly. As I say, we've been doing this the last 3 years. I think Mr. Wazlowski started it, putting the new things in red rather than everything in black, and for us to try to figure out what's new and what's not new. So we are very appreciative of that, that we can find the new items right away. Any preliminary discussion, questions, anyone? Again, we have a whole month to kind of digest what's there and see if there's any questions before we vote on it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Student handbook, 25-26 school year, it's also a draft.
Good evening. I am presenting the draft student handbook on behalf of Ms. Katulak, who is our interim Director of Student Services. As you all know, we're in transition and awaiting Mr. Michael Lewis to join us July 1st. Ms. Katulak did take the lead on this and convened a committee, as has been the general practice, to review the handbook. She did complete that process and made the changes that are detailed in the memo. Most of them are very minor changes that are aligned with yearly updates that need to be updated each year, along with some minor corrections. Since submitting this to the board, however, we did learn of a need to update the non-discrimination statement in order to be aligned with state and federal law. And those updates have been made on page 4 and 5 and are now updated in the version that's posted on board docs as well. The board was given a hard copy in addition to what's on board docs for those 2 pages, since that was a last minute change. I do apologize for that. It was something that was missed in transition as we're working through this.
Questions, preliminary questions about the first read of the student handbook for next school year?
Yeah, actually, I have a question.
Sure.
Is there any reason why we're using the term gender identity?
That's the term that is used in the state law and in the federal laws.
It's still used in federal law?
Mm-hmm. So, well, it's definitely used in MSDE law 13A.01.07.03 of COMAR, stipulates verbatim that we are to have a statement in our handbook that includes gender identity in the definition.
Well, it's the law, so we have to comply with it, but it's disappointing.
Yeah.
Other questions, concerns? Okay, again, it's first read. We'll see the finished product next month and adopt it at such time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Policies and procedures, DID fixed assets and physical inventories policy and procedure. This is a revision.
Yes, so all of the changes in these will be in red as well. We are reviewing DID, fixed assets and physical inventory, policy and procedure. Both the policy and procedure documents were revised to adhere to the correct formats for the policy and procedure templates. And also both documents were revised to properly reference GASB Implementation Guide 2021-1. And in the policy, the main item that was moved is the definitions were moved over to the procedure according to the template.
Questions about DID, fixed assets and physical inventories? This is a first read revision. Any questions? Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. The next policy is DJ, Procurement Policy and Procedures Revised. Both documents were revised to adhere to the current templates for policy and procedure. Under the policy, much of the content in section D was moved over to the procedure, appropriately including the definitions. And in the procedure, in addition to the relevant content added from the policy, updates were made to the suspension and debarment procedures to reflect COMAR and federal regulation.
Questions about DJ procurement policy and procedure revisions to meet COMAR requirements? I know these have all been before the policy committee
Right.
Correct.
and have endorsements from the committee. Okay. Okay, let's do the next one. DJEE, public schools, federal, state, local government, department policy. Is it debarment?
Debarment, yes. So
Debarment policy and procedure.
DJEE, Public Schools, Federal, State, Local Government Debarment Policy and Procedure. The policy was actually new. It was developed as needed. There was not a corresponding policy to the procedure. For the actual procedure, it was reformatted into the correct procedure template, and there were also reference and information that was revised based on the current federal government website, sam.gov, and also the state site, bpw.maryland.gov.
Questions about DJEE, public schools, federal, state, local government, department policy and procedure? Okay, hearing none. We'll now move to IJL, implementation and utilization of media materials and policy and procedure. I'd also, I'm sorry, Ms. Glatfeldy, also should have introduced Miss Ashley Glatfeldy. She is our, I guess for use of a better word, our interim Director of Finances for the moment, as we're in a transition there. And I do want to say we are extremely lucky to have her. This is the second time she's bailed us out in a situation, and we're very grateful for everything that you've done. You've done a lot of work for us in the last month or so. Thank you, Ashley. Okay, let's go to the IJL, implementation, utilization of media materials, policy and procedure.
Good evening. I'm presenting the first read of new policy IJL and revised procedure. IJL, implementation and utilization of library materials. First, it was discovered we did have an existing procedure, but no corresponding policy, so we're working to rectify that. We're also seeking alignment to the Freedom to Read Act, written into Education Article 4-142 of Annotated Code of Maryland, which safeguards access to books and materials in public schools and libraries. The law counters efforts to ban or censor content based on ideological or political objections. It was introduced as House Bill 785, Senate Bill 738, and signed into law by Governor Wes Moore in April of 2024. The purpose of policy IJL, implementation and utilization of media materials, is to ensure school library media programs in GCPS operate in alignment with the Annotated Code of Maryland, which requires procedures to review objections to materials while protecting against censorship and undue removal of materials.
Okay. Again, this is a first read, has been before the policy committee. However, are there any questions or concerns?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
I've got a few things. During the policy committee meeting, I expressed some concerns there. And then also the next day, talked with the superintendent. I'm not all about banning someone just because they disagree with us, you know what I'm talking about. But at the same time, I think it would be wise and prudent to protect our kids from things that are explicit. So I have some wording here that I'd like to add to the first read of this policy. Maybe next time we could get, or next month when we vote on it, it'll be in there. And actually, I'll give one to each of you. If you want to pass that down for me. This is a way to where we're totally okay with 4-142. Carroll County is doing something very similar, and everything's fine there. Basically, what I would like to see added to the policy and the procedure, and I did talk with Mr. Hoover about this earlier and got some legal counsel on how to do this the right way, but basically, I want to see added to the policy what I have there on the paper, under Section D, administrative procedures for the policy, or for the procedures, and then on the policy somewhere in there, materials, services, and resources provided in a school library media program shall not contain sexually explicit content. So this does not focus on anything by religious views, ideology, any partisanship. We're just trying to, my goal is just to protect the kids from sexually explicit content here. And so if we could put that into the policy and the procedure here, the draft here, and then that way it'll be there next month when we vote on it. And I'd like to see that in the first read. And if it's not, then I'll vote to not accept the consent agenda next month.
You want to read for the public, Matthew, everything so that
Sure.
So we have a
Sure.
copy of it.
Basically, what I'm asking for is this what you're asking Mr. Woods to say what I'm asking for?
No, go right ahead.
So in the law 4-142, and you mentioned it just now when you read, based off the author's origin or ideology, and nothing can be removed based on partisanship, religious reasons. This is none of that. This is just anything that is sexually explicit. And if we could have a definition in there, I wrote this one down. And again, a lot of this, I borrowed the idea from Carroll County, same state. But sexually explicit content would be defined as describing, depicting, showing, or writing about sex or sex acts. So one thing that I'm trying to do is, one, protect the students, obviously, from something that we wouldn't want them to see in a library or something like that. But then also to protect our community from being in the crosshairs of the news networks. So that's something as well.
Okay. Any other comments, concerns, reactions? Yes, Don?
I think it's a great revision, and I wholeheartedly support it.
Go ahead, Amy, I'm sorry.
I would like to add that it is our current practice to ensure age appropriateness, which I think is what we are specifically talking about here. That is our current practice, and that is how our library media staff members are trained. I do want to make that clear.
I think where we are is, obviously, you will have a copy of his statement that he would like to see added to the draft. If you, as the superintendent, bring that draft back with his statement as a part of that draft, then we will certainly vote on that draft. If, in fact, you don't bring that back as a part of the draft, then I think Mr. Treesize is ready to make an amendment proposal to the draft, correct? Correct. So we're all on the same page, and we know what we're going to be doing next month. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay, thank you. We're gonna move past public comment for a little while. We've still got about 15 or 20 minutes. Let's move on to continuing business, promoting health among teens, abstinence-only intervention supplement resource. This is an action item tonight. Mr. Edwards will make that presentation.
Yes, this is a follow-up to our last meeting when the materials were brought out before the board. We did put the packets in the accident library and the Oakland library for comment. We received 0 comment from that. You did receive a public comment at the last meeting, and we did receive 1 email comment that came in the day after the presentation. So the comment that you received at the last meeting, as well as the other comment that was received via email, were opposed to the materials, and both of them shared the same opposition in the sense that they did not think we should be teaching abstinence only. But I do want to clarify that this is a supplemental material, not the whole curriculum.
Superintendent, you have a recommendation?
My recommendation is to approve the Promoting Health Among Teens, Abstinence Only Intervention Supplemental Resource to be utilized with our high school health curriculum.
Okay, the superintendent is recommending that we adopt Promoting Health Among Teens, Abstinence Only Intervention Supplement Resource as a part of our health curriculum. Is there a motion as such?
Yeah, I'll move to approve that. It's a,
Motion by Rodney. Second?
I'm going to second this. I too believe in comprehensive education, but I also feel that students need to be taught something in this area. And I think that what the health teachers teach as well complements this curriculum. So for that, I'm going to vote yes.
You're gonna.
I'm
make-
voting.
you're
Second
gonna make
that
a
motion.
Okay, there's a motion and a second on the floor. We now have discussion. Just clarification, I think this is an opt-out. You can't opt out of this supplemental materials.
Opting out of sex education is an opt-out reason.
Is an opt-out reason, yes. For those who do not want that taught to their children.
Correct.
so I think we've had programs like this in the schools before. And Project AIM, I think, was one that we had for like 3 or 4 years before the
Correct.
funding went away.
This particular material is recommended by the Health Advisory Committee because the previous material that was used was being phased out by the publisher, and this is the closest thing to that material that they could find. James, who was with me at the last meeting, said they're basically the same.
I do also have to say, I taught this curriculum when I was the director of the after-school program, and I had just about every parent say to me that they were very happy that their kids were getting this. So, yeah.
Yeah, and the comprehensive, the health education that we already give certainly mentions abstinence as a preferred way to go, but it also recognizes that some kids aren't going to follow that. And we have certainly I think that's an important program, given the statistics on sexual activity of that age group, high school age, sometimes middle school.
Other comments, questions, concerns? Yes, ma'am.
I just think this, I know there's state law, but I mean, my gut feeling is this whole thing is really none of the school's business. And for that reason, I'm totally against it.
Other concerns, questions? Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second to adopt Promoting Health Among Teens, Abstinence-Only Intervention Supplemental Resources, part of our health curriculum. Those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, nay.
Nay.
And it's 3-1. Adoption.
Thank you.
Let's move on down to ratification of GCEA Unit 1 Career Ladder Level 4 Agreement and action item as well.
Dr. Wilderson.
Good evening. On May the 12th, which is yesterday, the Garrett County Education Association, Unit 1, ratified 2 amendments to the proposed FY26 negotiated agreement with the Board of Education. With that, It is the recommendation of the Garrett County Board of Education approve the amended articles as negotiated between the board and GCEA Unit 1 ratified yesterday. These amendments to the FY26 proposed negotiated agreement specifically address updates to Article 3.1, which impacts the duty day, and Article 15.2 with the career ladder enhancements for levels 2B and level 4A teachers. Approval of this amended language affirms the mutual agreement between the Board of Education establishing clear guidelines for duty hours for level 4 teachers in 2B, outlines salary enhancements aligned with the career ladder framework, and ensures compliance with the blueprint for Maryland's future objectives, pending available funding and legislative mandates. Upon the board's approval, a memorandum of understanding will be executed to formally incorporate these provisions into the FY26 agreement.
Superintendent McCartney, you have a recommendation?
Yes, my recommendation is to approve the amended article as presented and authorize execution of the related MOU.
I see that. So I can say it correctly.
Yes.
Superintendent's made a recommendation to approve the amended article as presented and authorize execution of the related MOU. I'll take a motion as such.
So moved.
So move it on.
Second.
Second by Sadie. This is a vote-only item. All those in favor of the motion as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wilderson.
Okay, we are going to go to public comment. We got about 12 minutes left, and if somebody comes in at 7, we'll certainly allow them to make public comment as soon as Mark gets the paper, because the budget proposal is going to take a while. The draft will take a few minutes, so let's try to do this first.
10 minutes.
10 minutes? Heard that before. Okay, looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. Okay. Kathy Schaefer. Oh, I'm sorry. I got to read my statement first. Always forget the statement. Guidelines for public comment. Garrett County Board of Education is pleased to receive comments and ideas from our public pertaining to policies, procedures, and/or practices of the school system. We ask that comments be limited to a maximum time of 3 minutes per individual, unless otherwise considered by the board president. There will be no discussion or action taken at this meeting, but may be considered at a future meeting. Issues that are specific to individual employees must be referred to immediate supervisors for appropriate consideration and review. Rude, slanderous, or threatening remarks or other behavior that is disruptive or interferes with the order of the meeting will not be permitted. These topics excluded from public comment. Individual personnel issues may not be discussed. Comments identifying individual students or staff members. Matters that are on appeal or may be appealed or have been appealed. Topics for which the board schedules up formal public hearings or advertising and solicitation of products and services. So we certainly advise you to please follow the rules. Those are the rules that have been in place for many, many years. And we encourage you to certainly tell us what you want us to hear within those rules. So now, Kathy, with that being said, please come up.
I know we have a lot of issues before us, and this is just an invitation to anybody that's here, anybody that's listening, and to you all. It is time to start thinking about where we would send our children next school year in Garrett County, and it is our choice. I am sure that you would select a school that has math, language arts, science, social studies, and all the other common core state standards. And also morning announcements, music, art, Pledge of Allegiance, gifted and talented teacher and counselors. And oh yes, a school garden, home arts, agricultural skills, kids helping kids, food drive, nursing home visits, just to mention a few more. The average Garrett County schools testing scores are all, or were all, above Maryland's averages. Our school, and one school in particular in Garrett County, has higher scores than any other of its same age. Its students scored 70 percentile at or above proficient levels for math and reading. The highest elementary school in our county is a Maryland 4-star rated school, highest Maryland ranking. The mission of this Garrett County school is to inspire and foster student growth by providing rigorous instruction and learning opportunities, to partner with its community, to sustain a culture of excellence, and preparing their students for life in an ever-changing world. School plus home plus the community equals student excellence. As a mother, grandmother, ex-mayor, once certified teacher, I even taught here when they opened the school, and administrator, I would recommend this school. Swan Meadow is inviting all families, friends, and community to an evening of connection, discovery, and fun. On Tuesday, June the 3rd, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, Swan Meadow will be holding an open house. Crafts, STEM presentations, charter school question and answer, giveaways, ice cream bar, catapult play, and much more are all part of their activities. Enrollment will be open from K to 8th grade. And by the way, I have 3 grandchildren going to this school. Thank you. You're invited.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Justin Liller, I need to know your topic, Justin. I have to write that down by law. Policy, okay.
Feel free to cut me off if I'm breaking your rules. I want to discuss the calamity that has been the girls' basketball and wrestling coaching suspensions. The public genuinely cares about these matters, as evidenced by the numerous posts.
Justin, we can't talk about that because there is a possible appeal that could happen, so that cannot be talked about.
The appeal process has been given 6 times, 6 different ways. So
This is a personnel issue that cannot be discussed. I'm sorry. Excuse me, the laws are the laws, okay?
Was it the law that the personnel matters be posted to Facebook very generically, creating lots of public confusion?
If you want to talk about policies, certainly continue, Justin, but it has to be about policies. I do not know the next person. It's hard for me to see who that was. Okay. Yeah, it could be, yes. Could be. I'm sorry, I just couldn't read it.
Sorry, I write small and not so legible sometimes. Don't worry, I'm not going to go through. I have a nice, brief 3-minute, I promise. Good evening. I'd like to take a few moments to emphasize the critical importance of practicing continuous improvement, continuous development within our support services team. Support services is the operational backbone of our district, from ensuring safe and reliable transportation to maintaining clean and functional facilities to delivering efficient nutrition services. This team ensures that everything runs seamlessly in the background so our educators and students can thrive. But in today's fast-paced environment shaped by shifting demands, tight budgets, and rising expectations, we cannot afford to be reactive or complacent. To meet these challenges, the superintendent's office must empower support services to move beyond a maintenance mindset and embrace a forward-thinking, solutions-driven approach. Innovation and continuous progress must become the expectation, not the exception. Continuous improvement is not just a best practice, it's a strategic imperative. It means using data, not headcount, to drive decisions, refining processes, eliminating inefficiencies, and proactively addressing issues before they escalate. When we commit to this mindset, we enhance our ability to serve the district with consistency, agility, and excellence. This commitment has a direct and lasting impact on our ability to support teachers and staff. When systems work efficiently, educators can stay focused on what matters most: teaching. A well-functioning operational framework builds a strong foundation for student learning. Technology plays a vital role in this journey. Modernizing our tools, systems, and digital platforms is no longer optional, it's essential. Whether it's enhancing communication systems, automating workflows, or ensuring reliable classroom technology, these improvements empower staff, reduce friction, and create a more responsive learning environment. For students, access to modern, well-supported technology is fundamental to preparing them for the future workplace and the digital world they'll inherit. In short, continuous improvement is not a peripheral activity, it is foundational. It ensures we are doing the right work in the right way to fully support our teachers, staff, and most importantly, our students, and today and for the future. To truly transform our schools and achieve our North Star vision, we must take immediate and deliberate action, conduct a skills gap analysis at the director level, and upskill to ensure we have the right leadership in place, initiate a root cause analysis of repeated turnover in finance leadership. Stability here is a foundation of operational excellence. Complete needs assessment for AI integration and computer science to build the modern learning environments our students so critically need. Establish a CI/CD strategy that aligns technology development with educational goals. Develop proactive risk mitigation strategies for the 25-26 roadmap to prepare for disruptions before they occur. These steps are not theoretical, they are urgent, actionable, and necessary to deliver the educational excellence our community expects and our students so rightfully deserve. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, girls, I got Abby and Jaden. Do you want to come together or do you want to come separately? Okay, you got 3 minutes together, or you come separately, get your own 3 minutes. So it's up to you what you want to do. Please be reminded, we can only talk about policies. Okay, go ahead, girls.
My name is Jaden Weaver. I play basketball. I appreciate my teachers and what they have done for me, and how they have got me to be where I am today. But I think we should also recognize coach appreciation and the policy behind school cancellations in practice. First off, our coach has always been there for us. I don't think I could give one good reason this coach would do to hurt a player. We don't think it's fair to us as players to play without him giving all his time and energy.
You're talking about personnel. I'm sorry. I don't want to get you or me in trouble. If you want to talk about the policy that you're concerned about, please do all that you want.
I know I would like to play in college, and I know for sure Paige Beckers, who's the #1 draft pick of 2025, didn't miss a day of gym time because somebody told her she couldn't practice. Snapchat, Instagram, group chats, social media, and even in class. Our team is this, our team is that, we are overrated. These are daily comments that fill up our school. This has caused issues within us, and it seems like no one cares about how it makes us feel. So today, I come to you as a student athlete wondering why these topics are important more important than sexual actions in school bathrooms, high school students overdosing, vaping in class, and bullying? Why are these issues not resolved? Why are the coaches being disciplined for making these players better? Everyone is asking the same question and nobody has an answer. As board members and superintendent, your main focus should be watching us excel and not be successful, but not tear us down.
Hi, my name is Addie Tasker, and I am a basketball player, and I just want to talk about my experience. We have had people downgrade us, our ability, and assume the worst about our team. We have been made fun of and accused of terrible things. We have been bullied at school. This has caused issues within our teams, and it seems like no one cares how it makes us feel. We don't want to play without our coach. We are worried about making it to states. We need our coach's help to get us scholarships. This all is ruining our high school careers. All we want to do is play basketball with our coach by our side, but no one seems to care about that. We are the main priority, and no one seems to see that. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, girls. Is it Marilyn Joe Jones? I'm sorry. Who's next? Yes, okay.
Stop me if you need to.
You'll hear the buzzer.
Good evening. My name is Joe Janes. I'm a grandparent of a Southern Lady Ram. I'm here on behalf of parents, grandparents, community members that request that you reevaluate board policies regarding optional open gyms, snow days, and the violation of rules. Our group has asked numerous times for the written policy and have been told there is no actual policy. If there is one, we would request that you provide us with a copy.
Excuse me, I think we are providing one on the screen above.
Okay, thank you.
That is the procedure.
You're very quick.
Thought this might come up tonight. Pull the mic down just a little bit more so they can, because we record everything.
Okay, good. We've sent emails and appreciate the board taking our concerns into consideration. We would like the opportunity to discuss this policy with the executive board directly. We are aware that personal issues are not to be discussed. However, this issue was posted on Facebook and involves our children. We do look forward to hearing from you. This concern is a pressing issue when our students are involved. Our number one focus should be on the students and how situations impact them. Thank you.
Thank you. Is it Brady Hamilton? Bradley, I'm sorry.
So I have a petition in regards to the suspension of one of the wrestling coaches. I won't go into that more, but it's signed by 20 wrestlers. Yeah.
You can certainly provide us with that, but we can't talk about that situation.
Here's more in regards to the petition. I mean, in regards to the actual rules. My name is Bradley Hamilton, and I've been a member of the Southern Mat Club since I was 4 years old. We have always worked together with high school wrestling and high school coaches that would be Mat Club coaches as well. It is stated on the school's website that regional closings might be used in cases where one side of the county is under much more severe weather than the other. This has never been done before, even though the website says that it may be used. Non-mandatory practices that are hosted outside of the school have been done for every school, every sport, and every team. There's often done it at least once. During winter, when the weather must be taken into consideration, this is often done because the site used to practice outside the school is safer to get to than the school itself. Every practice that I've attended outside the school was done so in a safe way, and the weather conditions had lessened at that point. Our coach would cancel practices if he deemed the weather to be unsafe to drive in. Limiting the areas that athletes can practice at hinders student athletes and their abilities to gain more knowledge and experience with the sport that they enjoy. These same sports are what promote students' ability to work as a team, to perform under pressure, to have better social skills, and to have better time management. It has been shown time and time again that the most successful student athletes in their sport have achieved great things once out of school. It should also be noted that the rule being used to limit these practices states that the principal's judgment may be used to determine if the weather has alleviated enough for after-school activities to be held. This has never been followed, as currently the superintendent makes this call as a county-wide decision. Having optional practices allows those who feel it is safe to still attend. Most high school sports are at a level that year-round practice is needed to excel at that sport or for scholarships. The only way this can be accomplished is by using outside clubs or organizations, and limiting this opportunity is only hurting the students athletes in our area. And I should also note that this was done using a more recent handbook, as that one was last updated in 2015. This one was updated in 9/9/2022. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Brady. Our last person who wants to speak is Ruth Hamilton about policies.
Want the signature page from the wrestlers?
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. The policy of sports cancellation of events needs to be revised, changed, and definitely looked into. The winter sports coaches are being unfairly punished when they did nothing wrong. They teach each their athletes dedication and determination for their sport. Attending an optional practice at an outside organization not affiliated by the school is completely a parent's choice. Allowing optional practices allow parents to decide if the child attends or not. If they feel the roads are too bad for the area, they simply don't attend. Our county has a large amount of weather closings, especially now that virtual days have been added, more so than any county in the state. Virtual days seem to be used, too much and are still considered school days. So can practices still be held on virtual school days? Closings that are largely based on weather predictions, which are not always accurate, along with our county having such varied weather on the northern end and southern end. Even the National Weather Service has divided Garrett County into two separate weather regions. No coach or parent would ever consider putting their athlete in unsafe conditions. Our athletes cannot be competitive with schools downstate that have consistent practices. We need to be able to practice too. Thankfully, we live in a very supportive community, and our schools are a part of our community. If a designated high school coach is also a coach at another organization, then they should be able to offer that community resource to our students. No policy has been broken, except that the board has never even followed their own policy. In the Garrett County Public Schools Handbook for Extracurricular Activities, it states on page 13 under cancellation of events and practices, in the event schools are closed all day and the emergency conditions of weather in the judgment of the principal has been alleviated by noon, activities may be held. Safety of the participants should be given the highest priority in making this decision, and participation will be on a voluntary basis of parents and the participants only. If policy was being followed and principals could make this call, it could be more accurate on a regional basis for road conditions. Having a caring, giving community is a wonderful place to live in. All of our sports utilize the community resources around us. Northern wrestling uses Hillbilly Hammers, Southern wrestling uses Southern Mat Club, tennis uses the Mountain Lake Park courts, soccer uses Lockland Mountaintop Fields, cross country uses the Broadford Park courses. All of these coaches care about and want the best for their athletes. All of our club sports are feeder programs for the future. We need to be working together for the best success for our athletes. Some of our athletes are working towards scholarships to better their future. When they have the drive, coach, parent, and community support, then why should the school be holding them back? The student's safety as well as school liability should not be a concern when optional practices put that responsibility on the parent's choice. And just so you know, today, for instance, Hillbilly Hammers closed their practices because of flooding. We saw in Westmar, kids are being evacuated by boats, so they can make good choices. Thank you.
Okay, that's the last of our folks who have signed up at 7:10. So we're going to move on to our last item of business, which is the budget. And the superintendent will make that budget presentation, draft presentation.
Page 26, please. I would like to, we're going to get the right page up here very quickly. Thank you. Thank you very much. Before we get started on the budget, I would like to remind the board that we are still working with preliminary numbers from the state. We do not have the final numbers yet. We expect them by the end of the week. We expect them every day. So hopefully we will have them by the end of the week, and we'll be able to finalize the numbers that you see before you. I also, before Mrs. Glodfeldy gets started, Mr. Woods had mentioned earlier what a wonderful job she has been doing and how lucky we are to have her on staff to help us with this process. I just want to reinforce that because there's been a lot of work within about the last 3 weeks by Mrs. Glodfeldy and the entire finance staff to pull the budget together. So greatly appreciate all of those efforts. We'll start by Mrs. Ashley is going to go over some of the preliminary numbers. You should all have a printed budget book. We're not going to go through every page, but we have selected pages that we wanted to review. It is also online on board docs, yes.
Okay, I'm going to start on page 26. It is the unrestricted estimated revenue. One of the major shifts from in fiscal 25 estimated revenue was there was a shift in the foundation from the state share to the local share. It is about 2.4 million. So that was one of the major changes in the preliminary revenue numbers. In addition, as noted in the December board meeting, there was a potential need to use 1.8 million in fund balance. In the current budget that is proposed, we are proposing to use $1 million in fund balance to balance the budget. To the next page. Okay.
Page 34, please.
As we go through this, certainly if anyone has a question, just chime in and with your questions.
Definitely.
On page 34, this is the proposed fiscal 26 unrestricted budget by category. I just wanted to point out that the budget between fiscal 5 and fiscal 26, there are little change in the percentages.
Just editorial.
Yes.
Did you notice under your fiscal 26 percentages at the bottom, percentages didn't calculate. You gotta get something there.
Oh, under here, yes, it's because there isn't anything in the approved column.
Okay. Yeah,
That's why it's there. It won't be that way in the final
the
version.
formula should take it out. Shouldn't it?
Correct, yes.
Any questions on 34?
On page 36, This is the proposed fiscal 26 unrestricted budget. It is by object. Again, I would like to highlight overall, there is a little change in the percentages from fiscal 25 to fiscal 26.
Questions? You're going to find the most of the questions are going to be next month.
Page 38. This is the proposed fiscal 26 unrestricted budget comparison. This is across all funds, and it shows the year-over-year variance. So the current expense, the restricted funding, school activity, and school construction.
Okay. Then if we could go to page 5. I don't believe that there is much on page 5 that the board has not seen before. These are our major budget initiatives for next year that we have shared. There have been some minor changes, and I thought I would also point out to you where you can find these items in your budget book, should you want to note these as you go through. One of our budget initiatives, as you know, for next year is to include driver's education. So if you look at pages 92 and 93 of your budget book, you will see on those pages that we have budgeted $30,000 in order to offer our driver's education program next year. We feel with the number of students who have signed up at this point that $30,000 will cover that for the next school year for the 2 high schools.
How do we, the consultant fee there also includes the use of their automobiles, I assume?
Yes.
All we're doing is paying the consultant to do everything. Is that a correct statement?
Yes. Gone are the days when you and I were here before, the major expense in offering that program, because we aren't buying any vehicles. We're not putting the driving machines in. Computer technology has taken us forward. And Mr. What's his name?
Widmeyer. Is it Widmeyer School?
Mr. Widmeyer will, we've already spoken to him about the per student cost. And as we shared before, there will be an opportunity for the students to do, I think it's 6 hours on the road, Mr. Edwards, 6 hours on the road, and we will be working with the different students and their families as to when that can happen. I would expect in future years that the 30,000 will increase because remember in our plan, we're starting with seniors and juniors. We think quite a few of those students already have their license. So we don't have as many students signing up next year as we expect in the future. The culinary arts program is on pages 114 and 115. You'll see at the top of the page we have included one new full-time teacher for Northern High School so that we can offer that program at the high school. As I've said to you in messages, we're also looking towards the ARC, applying for some funds to help us get the culinary arts classroom up to the level that we need it to be. We know that next year we can offer the program at Northern High School in the old home economics classroom, but in future years we need a little better space to fully develop that program. On pages 100 and 101, we have included in the superintendent's budget funds for summer programming. We have included $45,000, you'll see at the top of the page, for the elementary program. We will be using other funding for that program also. We have some Title I funds that we can use, and we have some community schools funds, but we have included in the budget $45,000 from local monies. We also, at the secondary level, are going to, and I think, Mr. Edwards, this is the first year we've done this, that we're using Edgenuity for the instructional program for students this summer at the high school level. So we've included those as new items in the budget. The board earlier at previous meetings had approved new science materials. Those materials have been included in the budget on pages 86 and 87. You'll see that we have in the budget right now $93,000 for science materials for 6th grade through 8th grade. The board also approved English language arts materials. That was more for the elementary program. That's on pages 96 and 97, if my eyes are still working. You'll see on page 96 under supplies and materials that we've included $600,000 for ELA at the elementary level. And again, we appreciate the approval of those materials, and now we need to purchase them. Second step is a program of support that we use. If you go to page 128, 129, on those pages, you will see that we have included $32,000. And we put it as second step. That's what we currently use, but we have staff who will be reviewing that. And we may go to another material, but if we do so, the board will certainly have an opportunity to look at those materials with us for approval. So we've said second step or replacement materials. I'm also hopeful that someone's going to figure out a way to put that in a grant and save the local budget $32,000. We'll see how that works out.
I do have a comment about the second step curriculum. I am very familiar with it, and I think it's good curriculum. And I know a whole lot of money was put into the second step curriculum. And if we already have that curriculum, I don't know about replacing it, because with the budgets the way that they are, it could be very costly.
I believe it was last year that they had updated that curriculum, and there were some sections that we needed to review. So, Dr. Miller, help me out.
It's also a license now, so
Yes.
It's not a hard
like
kit book that you would be able to use for like 10 or 15 years. It's a digital license. So we'll have to, one way or another, either renew that license with a funding cost, or we'll go through a committee process like we do for all of our instructional materials to select the best product at the time, but hopefully able to get it into a grant as well. So.
And if you have to go with another curriculum, the likelihood of it being digital is probably good
Pretty
too,
high.
because that's where
Pretty
we're
high.
at now.
Right,
Okay.
yes.
Any questions about that part of the budget where, the section where we're looking at some academic opportunities? Again, I don't think any of those are a surprise to the board because we've talked about those before. The other things that you'll see in here, we are looking at a pilot program next year. Right now, we're calling it Teacher Leader Program, but we're playing with that name. So next month, it might have a whole new name. But the objective of the program is to provide additional support with existing staff at Broadford, Jock Blades, Southern Garrett High School, and Northern Garrett High School in some particular areas, basically English language arts, reading, and mathematics. We've been looking towards trying to pilot something like this for some time. Last year, you might recall that we changed to instructional supervisors instead of a particular subject area. So using instructional supervisors along with teacher leaders should benefit us and therefore benefit our students in making sure that we're using the best strategies to move our students forward. So that is a pilot for next year. That you would find on pages 120 and 121 of the budget. Is this helpful to have these pointed out to you?
Sure.
Okay, good. Then I'll keep going. The teacher leader pilot program you'll see up at the top of the page under stipends for teachers. We're projecting that that'll cost us about $12,500 next year to begin that pilot program. The other area that I have not, excuse me, talked about in previous meetings, we have looked at our special education program, and what we are seeing, and Dr. Mangus is here and can help me if I, as I go through this, what we're seeing overall in the county is a decline in our student population overall. At the same time, we're seeing an increase in the number and percentage of students who need additional assistance through our special education program. So we wanted to highlight for you that we will probably, based on student need, be looking at special education and increasing with teachers and assistants. It could very well be, as you look at the enrollment on whatever page enrollment's on. What page?
Page 13.
Page 13. See how good you are at this? You just saved me. If you look at page 13, you will see that we are projecting, and I would want to be very careful in saying that we're projecting at this point that we're going to have fewer students in the system next year. Looking at where we are with our enrollment of new students at the early elementary grades, and looking at the number of students who are graduating and coming in, that we could be close to 100 students fewer next year than we have this year. So when I say that we may be adding some teachers to our special education program. It may not be, we don't know yet, whether or not we'll be adding additional FTEs to our numbers or if we'll be moving staff from different areas to help us meet our special needs.
Under, I guess under the guise of student enrollment, have we finally phased out the transfer of funds to Allegheny County for the Finsel students?
Yes.
We no longer transfer any money to Allegheny County?
We're no longer, I don't think we've been doing that for some time, Mr. Woods.
We were a couple years ago, so it's only
We
happened
were
in
a
the last
couple
3
years ago, but I don't think we have transported anyone recently.
Okay, 'cause I know we
Yeah.
were waiting on one family to be
Right.
grandfathered through.
I have not had any request of that nature.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
We do have some students that we take to Allegheny County to a special school,
Sure.
but not on a regular student basis. That's pretty much the operating, new things in the operating budget. I would ask you, as you look through the pages, if you see differences or you have questions, feel free to ask us. And again, I'm very hopeful that the numbers that are there will hold. I will bring to your attention the capital budgets. Those are on capital improvement budget is on 196 and 197. That is basically the funding for our new Broadford School. So that's been included in the budget based on the numbers that we have right now as we go forward in that process. We also included on page 194 the miscellaneous capital request, as we are asking the commissioners as a miscellaneous request to fund the $140,000 for the 2 vans. Again, I know you know about that. Throughout the budget, I should mention, we have of course included the salary increase and health care cost increase for all of our staff as in the different categories.
Is there an area that you could point to that, for whatever reason, there was a recognizable decrease in the amount of money we're putting in that area?
Recognizable decrease.
Well, I'll speak for myself. I
No.
don't know what other people do. As I go through the book, I try to find areas that would show, geez, all of a sudden, why did we put in a fairly large percentage of new money into that? Or why all of a sudden did that budget decrease by a certain amount, a large amount of money?
You may see, and I knew these pages Saturday morning, you may see in the salary and wages that there were a couple areas where the salary went up significantly because we recoded people.
Right.
It's
So
not
we were
new people.
realigning GL codes.
Yeah, and see, that's good to know, because when you look at that, you'll say, geez, why did
Right.
they get did we add people? Did we?
Right. And we do have a page in here that shows near the back, it's in the appendix, the FTEs from last year to what we're projecting for next year. So that's also available, but you may see that. The other thing that you may see is in supplies and materials, next year we are looking at the English language arts. At the elementary, we're looking at the science. Last year, we looked at other subject areas, so they'll disappear in the next year's budget. At the very front of the document, if you look at pages 7 and 8 and 9, well, I'll stay with page 7.
Was transportation costs, and I don't know if Ronnie's still here or not. Were transportation costs figured into the budget, what did you use as a figure? How did you decide in terms of, if I want to take X amount of field trips,
Right.
what's the cost going to be?
Let's go to 156, 157, please. And I was going to point out on page 7 is our textbook renewal schedule. So if you look at what we are looking at this year, I think we decided to take fiscal year 25 out. So we start with fiscal year 26, but it'll give you an idea of what we're trying to do each year. Transportation is on pages 156 and 157. I wanted to note on those pages, we did consider a change in compensation for our contractors and drivers that we had discussed. That is embedded in here. You will also see that we put 58,500 in for field trips for discretionary, that the main transportation office can sort of look at if there are gaps to take care of those transportation needs. And what we do is we look at our expenditures for the current fiscal year, about halfway through the year, and then gauge from that. And certainly, Mr. Bray had a lot of input into the development of this page.
I guess I was just wondering, the price of gasoline, here it's what, $3.45? I don't know. I haven't bought much gasoline here. $3.49. Parkersburg, it's $2.90.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that we've done, if you look at 157, we spend about $5 million a year in transportation. We have not been, we haven't always budgeted at that level, and we have worked the last year or so to get to the level of predictability of that expense.
We don't get full reimbursement
No.
from the state. No. Nowhere close.
No. No, we have too many miles to travel to do it within the state guidelines. We have to use some local money for transportation. Did I misspeak on any of that? We okay? The last one I'll point out to you that is a big difference is on pages 162 and 163. We have been talking for a little bit about upgrading our payroll system. So we have that in the budget for about $150,000. That's on line 220918 to allow us to upgrade our payroll system, spend less human hours on it, hopefully, and have it a little bit more automated and give a little bit of a break to our finance department. So they have been looking at some different programs, and we've included funds to be able to support that. Those are the major differences.
It has always been, at least the past 3 or 4 years, what we've practiced, just for board members, what we've practiced is as you go through the book, if you find something you have a question about over the next month, send that question immediately to the superintendent so she can direct it to the appropriate department so that when we do come back, they'll have the explanation ready. Rather than saying at the last minute, why did this happen? Well, I would have to go back and check to see, because we're going to vote next month. So
Right.
if you have questions, feed them to them as soon as you get them.
And if I may, I will also say, when we get the final numbers, As we work through that, we will continue to communicate with the board changes that we make in this document in order to maintain a balanced budget, because in June, we do need to vote on it because by law, we have to get there. So we are sitting like this. And I would also like to close by saying, in no way do the two of us sit and put this budget together. All of the departments, principals on up through, have had an opportunity to express to us what their needs are. School allocations are included in here. So there's been a lot of input from people throughout the system, not something that Ashley and I do without their guidance and their input and understanding. The federal projects are all in the back of the budget. They're all estimated because we don't have the information we need to go beyond estimation right now.
Okay. Anything else? Anyone? Anybody? Anything about budgets? Okay. I'm sure we have a lot of questions to you next month as well. But great job. Thank you both. And thank all of you who had a part in it. We're very appreciative. Truly are. Student member report. Cadence?
All right, thank you. So we are wrapping up the end of the school year. It'll be on June the 12th. I have several student reports that will be put up on the screen in a bit. We have a lot of hardworking students who are breaking records in schools, and then also those who are being recognized for their individual accomplishments within their activity. Just to highlight a few things, our SHS Envirothon team will be headed to states. What else am I looking at? Our JROTCs on both sides of the county recently had their awards assembly. Northern High School had their National Honor Society induction, which I got to attend. And then GCPS seniors received their work ethic diploma. And like I said, there's several other student successes that are highlighted on the screen above. As far as student council, the Maryland Association of Student Councils is having its May executive board meeting this Saturday at North Hagerstown High School, which I will be traveling to. As far as individual schools, Southern High School, 7th through 8th grade assisted is helping with Teacher Appreciation Week. 9th through 12th, they assisted with the Teacher Appreciation Week, planned a blood drive, held a spring event in collaboration with PBIS as an incentive for students. We're working on wrapping up our vaping grant, and then we had elections. Northern Middle School worked to do a pro play initiative for the anti-vaping grant. And then gifted and talented students made a new episode of a podcast. As far as Northern High School, they're wrapping up as well. They just planned a field day. As far as student member, like I said, it is the end of the school year, so I just am working on attending a few meetings to look at what we want to do next year. And then I worked to get a lot of students to run for student government positions. And then in my additional notes, you'll be seeing that GCPS graduation is on May the 31st, and then we have awards assemblies throughout the month. Thank you.
Thank you. Board member updates? Anything for board members that want to?
Actually, I have an update.
Sure.
I was surprised to find out at a baseball game recently that a Northern High senior, Wally Brands, was accepted into the Naval Academy.
Oh, my.
Which, as a young man from the state of Maryland, is a substantial accomplishment, and I would urge the board to have some favorable publicity regarding that, just like we did about the young lady going to West Point.
Yeah, certainly we need to invite him to the next board meeting to make sure that we do that. Thank you. Those are not easy to come by.
I have a couple of different things. I'm going to start out first with an old student board member, Garrett Miller, has accepted a position at the White House.
Really?
He's taken a year off of school because he didn't get into the law school that he wanted to get into, so he's taken a year off and he's going to be at the White House. So I was pretty impressed with that. I always said when he was in after school he was going to grow up to be president. Well, he's at the White House. He's not the president yet, but anyway, I was pretty proud of that. Also, I had the pleasure of going to the FFA banquet on the southern end of the county. Wow, is all I can say. I was so impressed. I was going to go to the northern one, but something came up and I couldn't go. But I was pretty impressed with all that FFA does. And then my last thing is, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. I want to thank all the board members that wore green today, because green is the color for that. The first week in May is Children's Mental Health Week. The health department, the local behavioral health authority purchased books and sensory stickers for the elementary schools, and the therapists read to the students sometime this month if they haven't completed that yet. And again, just thank you for wearing green and showing your support for mental health. I think the more that we talk about mental health, we can reduce the stigma associated with it. It should be just as good to go to see a therapist as it is to see your doctor.
Amen. Anything else? Anyone else? Ron?
Yeah, I sent you a presentation on the wrap-up of the legislative session. The public can see that too if they go to the Maryland Association of Board of Ed website under advocacy legislation, and then that'll come up there. It's a little hard to find if you don't know where to look. So I helped you all out by sending it to you.
Yeah, thank you. We do appreciate that.
Other thing, I'm sending you those news clips from various places in the State Board of Education, news around the state, as well as court cases, et cetera. If anybody doesn't want to get those, let me know. I don't want to cloud up your emails.
Yeah, there's always
I'll just send them to you too, Kent.
There's always one or two things there that I've not seen.
You don't have to read everything, but
Yeah.
there's some interesting stuff there. That's it.
Okay. Superintendent updates.
I would like to take a minute with some calendar reminders, because it's that time of year that we need to be paying attention to some of these, more so than others. On Tuesday, May 27th, we will have a 3-hour early dismissal for students because we have staff development in the afternoon. On Wednesday, May the 28th, is the last day for seniors, because on May 31st, the high school graduation ceremonies will take place in the Ag Hall at the Garrett County Fairgrounds. Northern Garrett High School ceremony begins at 10 a.m. and Southern Garrett High School ceremony begins at 2 p.m. Starting on Wednesday, June the 11th, for the rest of our students, it's a 3-hour early dismissal. Thursday, the 12th, is the last day for our students, and that will also be a 3-hour delay. I'm sorry, 3-hour early dismissal. And then Friday, June the 13th, is the last day for our teachers. And then we all begin a summer students begin a summer vacation.
Retirement dinner's the next Tuesday.
Pardon?
Retirement dinner is it the next
The
Tuesday?
retirement dinner is Karen? We had it and we took it off my list because we thought
June 3rd.
June 3rd.
June the 3rd. It's been a fast year in many ways. Do you want to get a picture?
Yes.
The last thing, if I may, maybe once we adjourn, Mrs. Liller would like to have a group picture for those who, of course, every board member, Don, should be in the picture if they so desire, but in our green, in Mental Health Awareness Month. Sure.
And I'd like verbal permission to put it on our health department site.
Yes.
Sure.
Sure.
Anything else for the good of the order? If not, I'll hear a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Sadie, seconded by, who was it?
Second.
Seconded by Matt. All those in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. We are adjourned.